I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Mary Beth.
So great to see you today. We're going to do a review.
Warning, spoilers ahead. So if you have not yet read The Last Boy and Girl of the World.
In the world.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I'm sorry. You may not want to watch, because this is definitely, I think, going to be more of a review than a reaction. So.
Yeah, things slip. So The Last Boy and Girl in the World was written by Siobhan, I never can say that name, Vivian. She's wrote a lot of other stuff as well. And I love the premise.
I agree.
For the book. Town being perpetually beaten by rain, right? Weather, something we all think about given like the harshness of some of the weather storms in the last...
Especially here in Jersey, Bound Brook. If you're from Jersey, always a town that's underwater.
Sea bright, Monmouth Beach.
Yeah.
And we've survived Sandy, so
yes.
It's still very fresh for a lot of us.
Yeah.
But I was so drawn into the world. I definitely was drawn into the world. I gave Mary Beth the copy of my book to read, and had little Post-its in there for those moments that gave me all the feels. But I was very distraught at the ending. And full disclosure, I tweeted immediately, and the author tweeted back to me. So anytime the author pays attention to their readers and the community, we're always going, okay, let me give this a second look.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it's interactive. Reading is, you know, about being human. And when we share our stories and talk about it, it makes it kind of come alive a second time.
And that's a great thing about social media and being a reader in this day and age is you can have that almost instantaneous feedback from the author that you never would have got in the past.
Absolutely.
And I think it's really great for both the author's side and the reader's side, because you get to see what they like, what they maybe didn't like, and not that you necessarily need to change the way you do things. You wrote the story. It's how you wanted it to be. But it is nice to know if a lot of readers thought that something didn't work. Maybe it's something to look into in the future.
Yeah. And, again, anytime people are reading what you wrote and reacting to it, you're touching a nerve. And so that's important to mention. The main character, Kili, is slightly irritating, which is apropos for the audience, for the teenager, right? And she definitely has an arc to her storyline, to her development. I just maybe don't agree with the way that she developed or the way that the other characters were not as developed.
Yeah, I think that's what it is for me. It's to give away a little spoiler, in the beginning, we find that Kili has a crush on Jess. Or Jessie.
But a crush, I love you. I can't talk when you're around, and my inside, that kind of
very typical teenager
intensity.
Right. Yeah. Right. And so they kind of get together. He shows her attention when she's acting up. She's kind of like the class clown, and it's what she's known for. And to her, it's not a disruptive thing. She does funny things because she thinks it helps other people get through their problems. Mm-hmm. So if somebody's sad, she does something silly to try and cheer them up. So it's not just like a disruptive, I don't give a crap about what's going on in school and I'm just going to make, waves. I don't think it's that at all.
And we've all had friends like that, And the danger, really, for a character like Kili is that she has the risk of being one-dimensional or pissing off the other characters in her life, which is what happens.
Right.
But I just felt like the friendship between her and Morgan was so developed and supposed to be this deep-rooted, lifelong friendship, and for it to end the way that it did, and I don't want to give everything away, but for it to end the way that it did, I thought, wow, maybe Morgan wasn't even the person I thought she was.
Right.
Because we accept our friends, and Mary Beth has a great group of friends that she's been friends with since high school. We all, have these relationships, so it's like, the person, there's kind of, I don't know, a comfort in not having to reshare your stories again with somebody who knows you, right? And I just felt like the way that it ended was like, why was I emotionally invested in this friendship, in these characters, if they weren't even?
Right. But you know what? In thinking about it even more, the way it ended, as far as the friendship between the two girls goes, can be very
It happens.
teenager.
It happens.
Because people think
you're going to be friends
they're growing up and the other person isn't, and that you're moving on after high school and you need to leave behind immature people or whatever. So I do see how it can happen.
Yes.
But it just seemed so abrupt, and that they were so close. Like, even their parents, their mothers were friends.
Yeah. It was like, I guess for me it was like inauthentic to the way it was set up. Now, not that it couldn't happen. Certainly, we've all lost friends, and sometimes it's good and sometimes not so good. But if it didn't happen, I guess, on all of these levels of different relationships. So with Jesse, with Morgan, the dad.
Yeah,
we can talk about the dad.
Well, I don't want to give too much of that away, because I really didn't see that part coming until the very end. So I don't want to give that away. But as far as Jesse goes, to me, he was always annoying. And like, I could see how they could make a good couple, but maybe this is just the adult me.
Part of
and I could see that oh my God, that would drive me crazy. Although I really did like the way he looked out for his sister and took care of her and things like that.
He had other sides to him that you could see
I agree.
That he could mature in a way that wouldn't be that annoying.
Yeah.
But, you know, at the end of the day, and the reason we love talking about books at the end of the day is because they get you thinking, right? About relationships and your own high school crushes that, you know, if you've lived long enough, they always come back around and you go, oh,
for good or for bad, you know.
Yeah. So I mean, I like that it was so a lot of the stuff I guess I didn't see coming. Which in some books it's so plot. You're like, oh, this is.
I've read this 5 times before.
Absolutely.
And, you know, it just doesn't hold your attention. The thing that bothered me the most is where she ends up, and this is definitely a spoiler. That she doesn't end up with Jesse. She ends up with Levi. Mm-hmm. Yes, that's his name.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And from the beginning, we could see that he certainly has some kind of thing for her. He always kind of seems to be around in her vulnerable times, and he tries to help him.
He was around, but it wasn't. I don't know. It was like so were bugs. You know, I don't know. It was.
I could see it. I could see the connection coming from his side, the way it was written for me.
Okay,
but every time she talked about him, it was poorly. Yeah. It was, he did this to me, and this is why this teacher or the principal hated me, and this is that's the only black mark I had, you know, in my high school career, and you know, he got me this job, but
he's mean to me.
He's mean to me, and I ditch him all the time so that I could go hang out with Jesse. And so when it came around in the end that it was actually, oh yeah, he's the one that I actually like, didn't read realistic to me.
Especially if she's progressing, right? Especially if her character is going through this evolution of, again, spoiler, not wanting to be with Jesse, who she wanted to be with for 320 pages.
Right.
That now all of a sudden you want to be with the person that you know, and that, I guess, there was just too many things flipped upside down.
Right.
You know, and not that things flipped upside down is a bad thing.
No.
But I thought about that ending for a few days. I was still processing it and thinking about it, which is a great thing for the author, because the author's still in your head and you've stopped reading, so that's fantastic. You know, and I think if you're gonna read it, you're gonna get a great world and you're gonna get a lot. Yeah. But how you handle the ending is,
I think it's gonna differ for everybody.
Right. Because you bring your own thing to that.
And it could be, you know, that a younger reader, you know, it's just the kind of story maybe a younger reader connects better with. Maybe because we're a little jaded or older. We've had more experiences, so it comes off as a little more unrealistic.
The older you get, the less disposable people become to you, because you start to value. You know, when you're younger, you're like, I'll just get a new best friend. I'll just find a new boyfriend. I'll just whatever. And the older you get, you're like, well, it's not always greener.
Right. On the other side, right.
Yeah. So and again, so that's one of the interesting things about YA, because whatever your age is, you're either experiencing it or you have experienced it, and it allows you to kind of, even I was thinking back to the immature decisions I made, you know, when I was in high school, and I was like, oh, what would I have done?
Right.
You know, because I handle a lot of things with humor, or try to handle things
Right.
with humor, and
Right.
it becomes a defense mechanism. And so that was a good observation on the part of the author. But I think, we would, if you've read it, we know a lot of people are reading it now. We would love to know what you thought about the characters, the ending, or anything we missed that you want to talk about.
I think it's a great book to read with your teen and discuss how you see it, how you both see it, and why you see it that way.
Perspective, yeah.
I would give it 3 pages out of 5. I thought it was well written, and I really did enjoy it up until that very end part.
Yeah,
so
I would give it, I don't know, because I was so mad, but feeling is why we read, right?
No, that's true.
So maybe 4 pages out of 5. I did skip over some of the extensive weather descriptions and some of the stuff with the dad. I did skip over because it didn't engage me as much as some of the other characters. But overall, I would recommend it for a book club.
Oh, definitely.
Like
I think it's got a lot of talking points.
Absolutely, with with your friends or with your children or whatever. I would definitely recommend it.
Right. Okay. So if you have read it and you want to discuss, leave us a comment below and we will get back to you. Until next time.
Yeah. All right.
Bye. Bye-bye. Keep turning those pages.
Okay.